Alright, Outlaw Radio Live fans, we are live on the air with one of Philly's very first female artists. We got Mac Money of the Philly Crew on Outlaw Radio Live. How you doing?
Hi everybody. It's the microphone mistress in the house, straight from the goal area.
I want to ask, how's everything out in Philly?
Oh, it's cool. Everything's cool. I've been home. I hope you're staying home and safe.
Oh, we're trying down here. We just got told that the social distancing is going to last for another 2 years down here, so I guess we got to get used to it.
Really?
But I do want to ask Mac Money, from the beginning, what made you decide to get into music?
Well, it all started with my brother. I fell in love with hip hop from day one. When the Sugar Hill Gang came out, I fell in love with hip hop. I used to write, and used to fool around in school. It was just for fun for me, just a hobby. And my brother, he was like so fixated on it, so he wanted me to be the rapper. So it was like when UCLA came out with Roxanne, then Shantae came out, then the real Roxanne came out, then you had Roxanne's brothers, uncles, sister, mother, cousin, everybody coming out. So he wanted me to come out and be Suzanne. So I wrote a whole rap for that. And then he scratched it. Then when Schoolie D came out, he fell in love with Schoolie D. So now he wanted me to do this PSK thing. Back then we used to write letters, and after you put love always, you sign your name, you forget something, you put PS. And then you write whatever it is you remember that you're going to say. So that's why he called it PSK. So I just wrote the rap for that. And then he shopped it around. Shout out to Captain Boogie, because he had a DJ, Lightning Ride, and Captain Boogie lived right next door to me. So we had the rough draft over there. And then he shopped it around and then got the Place to Be record. I never really wanted to, be out there on records or anything. It's just something that just happened to me.
And I have to ask you, when you said brother, is your brother DJ QST?
Excuse me?
Sorry, when you said brother, is your brother DJ QST?
No.
Okay, my apologies, because when you said brother and whatnot and you mentioned that song, I kind of put the connection there. My apologies.
No, that's how me and DJ QST met through Place to Be records. Because when my brother went to Place to Be or whatever, they said that they had a group that had music, and they was trying to do the same thing that he was trying to do. So they was like, "Oh, we got an MC or whatever," and that's how we met.
So is that also how the whole story of how the Philly Crew got together, completely over at that record label?
Yes, it was Place to Be records. That's where it all started, and then Q had shopped the bill for the Rough House.
That's actually really cool, So I have to ask you, who else was signed to that label when you guys were currently there?
It was Robbie D and DJ Jazz, Black Mel. I think we were the only three on that label at the time.
Okay, so when you say DJ Jazz, was it DJ Jazzy Jeff, from Fresh Prince?
No, just DJ Jazz. It was Robbie D's DJ at the time.
And also, the Philly Crew was also signed to another record label as well called Rough House Records. I have to ask you, can you tell us a bit more about that record deal, and how did that come to be for you guys?
Well, Q did the shopping for the Rough House Records still. That's the one that I was just talking about, that Black Mel and Robbie D and DJ Jazz was doing.
Okay. So also in '96, the Philly Crew dropped the single PSK. I'll tell you what it means. I have to ask you, what's the inspiration behind that song? And did you think that song would actually be as big as it was today?
No, I did not. As I said, my brother, he was the inspiration behind it, because he loves Schoolie D, like that gangster lane. He just loved that hip-hop. And so when it came out, I don't know what was in his mind frame, but he was like, why don't you just make a answer to this? I was like, well, how do I make an answer to this? He's like, time or whatever. And I just took it from there.
And also, you did another song as well called Respect Yourself, which I have to say is one of my absolute favorite Philly Crew songs. What's the story and inspiration behind that iconic track?
Oh, you are so sweet. Thank you. Well, it was on a compilation album. And Q, of course, came up with the concept of it. And Q, this is why I love Q. We have such good chemistry. Like, he will always come up with these beats and be like, yo, I want you to call it this. And then I just go write the rhyme for it. So he came up with the Respect Yourself thing, and they said they was going to put it in a Stop the Violence album. And we were on it with Fully D Jam was on there, the Tough Career song on there. There was a whole lot of other artists on there. I don't know if you had that album.
No, I do not have that album, but I do have the Respect Yourself track actually in rotation on our radio station currently.
Oh, awesome.
I have to say though, quickly before we move on from that topic, that song has such a powerful message in that track. That's actually still relevant to today's society as well. So I gotta say, first and foremost, thank you so much for your contribution to hip hop and what you gave to the culture.
Thank you. At the time, it was like a whole lot of things going down because, we had that crack epidemic in the 80s. We were going through that. We had, like, guys snatching earrings and glasses. It was just real crazy back then in the 80s.
Oh, most definitely, I didn't get a chance myself to experience the 80s, but I have heard some crazy stories, and that, the AIDS, epidemic must have been really rough on the entire world.
But let me tell you something, it's a lot better back then than it is today, though. I'd rather be back there than in this era.
And I have to ask you, Mag Money, was it difficult actually being one of the very first women to come out of Philly as a hip hop musician?
I wouldn't say it was difficult. I did have like a little hard time because I was from Germantown. The area of Philly is called Germantown, and most of the rappers came out of West Philly. So I remember we did a party at, I think it was the Wynn Ballroom, and as soon as I stepped on that stage and said PSK, they started fighting, and I had to get out of here.
Yeah, you were like, I'm out of here.
Because I wasn't from that side of town, it was like, okay, like, they just wasn't feeling me like that. I wouldn't say as far as being a female, I had a hard time, no.
And also, when you brought up earlier in the beginning of the interview that you actually that you grew up listening to Schoolie D, I have to ask you, you also had the opportunity to work with Schoolie D as well. Was it kind of like an amazing experience for you going from an individual that listened to his music and then actually having the opportunity to work with him?
I never worked with him. I don't even know him, which I found weird that I never had a chance to even meet him because Chris Ford, who was my producer at the time, he used to manage Schoolie D. So I thought that a little weird that I never met him, actually.
And also, while I was doing the interview with QST a few months back in March, we were talking a little bit about how, New York and Philly, they were so close together, but yet they had so many different styles. I have to ask you, can you explain to our audience a little bit more about how New York and Philly were different, like kind of for hip-hop styles?
I think as far as New York and Philly go, I think New York probably was the first ones on the hip-hop scene. Like, they had the elements of hip-hop before it even really hit Philly. Like, New York seemed like they used to always have everything before Philly. But see, we done stepped our game up. So it's like, I think we're neck and neck now.
That's true, yeah, because I know, I think New York was the place where hip-hop originally started from the beginning.
Yeah, it all started up there.
And also, you did some work with the legendary Mixmaster Ice. I have to ask you, how did, the Philly Crew and Mixmaster Ice actually get connected?
Well, Mixmaster Ice was in the studio at the time. I think he probably did work with Q, but I mostly worked with LA Sunshine when we was up New York doing a remix. He actually, when we did the remix for PSK, LA Sunshine, he helped me with one of the hooks because, see, I was all about me to curse. So, LA Sunshine, he helped me with the P for the people with plenty of downstairs school, you really can't knock it out. So, see, I was going to put some other cuss words up in here, but they was like, no.
And if you don't mind me asking as well, Mac Money, I do know like after a little while, like you know the Philly crew like kind of weren't what to stop doing music type of thing. I want to ask, well, what made you guys decide to stop doing music and kind of go your separate ways?
Well, I think that the whole distribution chain thing, that kind of left a nasty taste in my mouth, and I like got kind of like, I wouldn't say depressed, but I was like, I don't know, I just felt as though the industry just didn't love me or whatever, and I just like stepped away from it.
And also in 1989, yourself and the Philly crew joined the Stop the Violence tour with KRS-ONE. I have to ask you, what was that experience like being able to share the stage with the legendary KRS-ONE?
Well, we didn't go on tour with them. The tour had stopped here in Philly, and we weren't on the show. We was like one of the opening acts for the show. So I didn't even meet KRS-ONE. I don't even remember what happened in that. I think I had left and went outside or something, but I didn't even get to meet him.
So I have to ask you, being on stage for that, like, do you remember how much money you guys raised just at the Philly show alone, or?
Oh, we rocked that show. We definitely rocked it. I had Diamond just out there as the hype man. He was throwing out my records and everything. And even when I went outside, this lady had found me with her child, and she wanted me to autograph the picture because Jeff was throwing pictures out there and everything. And that's that moment right there, I really loved that moment.
So I have to ask you, down the road, do you think we're gonna have like one more Philly crew reunion, maybe like a single or a record or even a concert, the Philly crew back together one more time?
I don't know, Brandon, because that whole experience like left a nasty taste in my mouth. Where so we never seen a dime. You know what I'm saying? Like we had got advance money for Rough House, that signage, but my brother, that I don't talk to this day, sold. So we never got paid for any shows. So I don't know. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say never. I don't know.
And honestly, I don't blame you either because, you know, like, just hearing that sounds pretty foul, you know what I mean? If you do the work, you should get paid, you know what I mean? And I do want to say, I know this is probably 30 years too late, but I do want to say I'm sorry that happened to you guys, you know? That's really not a good way to treat such a very talented group like yourselves.
Right. And, like, I love music. I love hip-hop. But I really would have to think about, like, I have, like, friends in my ear, like, telling me that I should. I mean, things are different now. Like you said, actually, you don't really have to sign to a label. You can just go and put your stuff out there. But I don't know. It's still up in the air for me.
So I have to ask you, Mac Money, as we all know, you're one of the female hip-hop pioneers of Philly. There's a lot of female artists out there that are really trying to make their name in the industry. And I have to ask you, what's some great advice you can give some of these young ladies that are really trying to make a name for themselves?
The first thing I would like to tell them is to know your self-worth. Like, it's not about sex. You don't have to be dressed to be sexy. You can have a turtleneck on and be sexy. And never sell your soul to the devil. And also know your business. And you need to handle your business yourself to know the money piece. I wish I knew that part about the money piece back then. But I was so young back then, I didn't even think about it.
But I gotta say, it's always a learning experience, you know. And I wish you guys didn't have to like go through all that stuff, you know, because you guys were such a talented group. You know, I still wish maybe people can go back and change time and make everything right, you know what I mean? Because I really think if you guys would have kept at it, you guys really would have blew up.
I think so, too.
So I have to ask you, Mac Money, what's next for you? So what have you been up to lately?
Well, I've been working my job for 31 years. The past 31 years.
Hey, that's pretty impressive, 31 years.
I've been there since I was 19. And I'm also working on voiceover acting. And I also promote and PR for a comedian. His name is DJ Malcolm Hill. Comedian Malcolm Hill. He can be found at Comedian Malcolm Hill or at Malcolm Hill 215.
So, Mac Money, this is a time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that comes on, just a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, and also your social media handles. That way our listeners can give the legendary Mac Money a follow if they're not already doing so.
Oh, thank you. Well, my IG is The Real Mac Money. That's DAREELMACMONEY. And my Facebook is Mia Mac Evans. And I like to shout out first and foremost my beautiful mother, even though I know she's not listening. And my family. I know my baby aunt in San Antonio is listening, Candy. And my little cousin in San Antonio, Tata. And shout out to my whole family and my cousin, Ronnie Mack. He's out here doing his thing, and he can be streamed on all platforms. He can be followed at Ronnie Mack, and that's JUANNYMAKK. And shout out to the dopest man that ever pumped a Pier 12, DJ QST, and Diamond Jess, and comedian Malcolm Hill. Thank you so much, DJ Mortal.
You are most certainly welcome, Mac. I do want to say I've been a fan of the Philly crew for a long time, so it's an honor just to be able to have you on the platform. You know what I mean? But I do want to say, Mac Money, thank you so much, and I hope you stay safe out there in Philly. You know what I mean? And I hope this pandemic's over soon.
I hope so, too, because I plan to come to Canada, and I'll let you know when I'm in the area.
Hey, most definitely. It'll be good to meet a legendary individual like yourself.
Thank you so much.
You're most certainly welcome. Have yourself a wonderful night.
You too. I appreciate you.
All right, Outlaw Radio Live fans, you already know who that was. That was the legendary